So now, let's talk about the basic individual skills in baseball. So there are 5 basic skills in baseball. These are pitching, catching, hitting, throwing, and base running. First, let's talk about the pitching. Pitch is an act of throwing baseball toward the home plate to start a play. Next is throwing. The act of throwing is not simple baseball skill. It requires the whole body to work together to accurately send the ball at a specific target. So next is catching. Catching baseball involves preparation in order to catch all the ball that is in your area. So next is hitting or batting. Batting is an act of facing the opposing pitcher and trying to produce offense for one's team. And the last one is running or base running. This skill is very important in scoring opportunities, wherein a player runs in every base to get a score. So how to win the game baseball? So to win the game, you must outscore your opposition through 9 innings played. So the team with the most points after 9 innings is deemed the winner. In the event of a tie, extra innings are played until the winner has been concluded. First is, what is the history of softball? So in 1887, when George Hancock, a reporter of Chicago Board of Trade, invented the indoor baseball. By the spring of 1888, the game has spread outdoors. It was originally called either mash ball, kitten ball, or indoor baseball. But by the 1920s, it had acquired the name of softball. So nowadays, we know that softball is a game for women. So next is the equipment in softball. So first is the bat. So there are 5 different softball bats. These are 1-piece softball bats, 2-piece softball bats, alloy softball bats, composite softball bats, and hybrid softball bats. The use of bats is depending on what the player wants to use. So next is ball. So the ball of a softball is bigger than the baseball. Next is gloves. The use of gloves is depending on the position of the player. We have different types of gloves. So these are the pitcher's gloves, catcher's mitt, infielder's glove, outfielder's gloves, and the first baseman's mitt. So next one is uniform. So each team wears different uniforms. Uniforms includes helmet, headbands, visors, caps, shoes, shirts, and pants, ties, sliding, undershorts, and etc. This can help us to recognize the different teams on the field. So next is the facilities in softball. So first is the playing fields. So the playing fields is divided into fair territory and foul territory. Fair territory is further divided into infield and outfield, and foul territory is beyond the outfield fence. So next is infield. So the infield is a square called diamond. There is base on each corner, first base, second base, third base, and home plate. Next is outfield. The outfield is grass area beyond the infield and extend the entire width of the field and to the outfield fence. So the first skill in softball is hitting. In order to hit a ball well, a batsman need to have a good hand-eye coordination and are capable of responding quickly. Once a player develops these skills, they can begin to choose the area that they want the ball to land to avoid the fielders. Next is throwing. In softball, underarm pitching is mandatory, but players still need to be capable of throwing the ball with the speed and accuracy. This helps to prevent the opposing team from scoring runs. So the next skill is catching. So catching is an important defensive skill. Fielders can get a batsman out by catching the ball provided it does not bounce first. So next skill is fielding. So good fielders support the pitcher and respond quickly. Whenever the ball comes to them from the air or rolling along the ground, coordination of the team can help them win the game. So the last skills in softball is moving between bases. So moving between bases quickly is one of the way the team can score runs. As the batsman moves, he or she needs to be aware of what else is going on the game and location of the other team's fielder. So next is the basic rules in softball. So same with the baseball, there are 9 players on the softball team. The playing field is divided into infield and outfield. The lines between the bases are 60 apart, and when joined them from the diamond inside the baseline is known as infield. So next is outside the baseline but inside the playing field is called outfield. Any ball going outside the first or third baseline is a foul ball. Runners cannot advance and the batter gets another try unless the ball was caught in the air, which translates to an out. So next, an official game is 7 innings. An inning is when the both teams have their turn into bat.
Modern football is originated in the Britain in the 19th century. Thought folk football had been played since medieval time with varying rules. The games began to be standardized when it was taken up winter game at public school. So first, the equipment. So each team consists of 11 players. So these are made up one goalkeeper and 10 qualified players. Then the pitch dimension vary from each ground but are roughly 120 yards long and 75 yards wide. So on each pitch, you will have 6 yards box next to the goal mouth and 18-yard box. So surrounding the 6-yard box and center circle. So each half of the pitch must be a yard. Then image of the other in terms of dimensions. So essentially, the equipment that is needed for a soccer match is a pitch and a football. So additionally, player can be found wearing the study football boots and shin pads and the machine strips. So a goalkeeper will additionally wear padded gloves, and as they are only players allowed to handle the ball. So to the facility, so football is the most popular in the world game of football in the number of participants and the spectators. So simply in its principal rules and the essential equipment, the sport can be played almost anywhere. So from the official football playing field to the gymnasium, street, school, playgrounds, park or beaches, all of these are one of the facility can we play on the football. So the first is dribbling. So dribbling in the ball in the football essential is allowed to the player to keep position of the ball while moving either towards. So the second one is a juggling. So juggling can help a player with the ball's control or coordination and can help to improve the reaction. So the third one is the passing. So passing, a good passing team in the football is able to keep a position of the ball and move it down to the field. So the fourth is the receiving. So receiving football with your feet is an important skill in the football. So a pass is only good as the player ability to receive the pass and keep the playing going. So for the fifth and the last for the basics individual skills, so the last is the shooting. So shooting is the goes without saying the learning to shoot the football is one of the most important skill a player will need. So the two most important skills when shooting are the power and accuracy. Players should practice both and also be to shoot the ball with either foot. So to the rules and regulation, all teams must take the field with 5 players. So mix them must take the field with a minimum of 2 females outfield players. Then either gender is allowed in goals. So unlimited interchange will be allowed for all matches. So kick-off will be taken off halfway. Then no slide tackles, no offside, no throws ins, and no corners. So if the balls hit any parts of behind the goalkeeper of a shot, keepers save the deflection the balls. So automatically goes to the goalkeeper for a restart, and indirect kick shall be awarded. So at the referee's direction should be a player kick the ball into the own back net. So first, let's talk about the history of futsal. So futsal is a region word or also known as futsal or futsal. So it started in 1930 when Juan Carlos Siriani. So futsal is a football game played on hard court and smaller than a football pitch. So futsal is played with a smaller, harder, low bands than ball than soccer. So on this side, I try to break down different categories of training equipment. So the first is the shoes or boots, as some call of them. So futsal shoes are specially designed for the sport of futsal and are made for the indoors soccer on hard surface. Then the second is the shin guard. So shin guard is the hit of the game. Having a good shin guard is a very important. They need to be strong but lightweight and durable. Then also the shocks. So futsal shocks typically will come up to the just because below the knee. Then they help protect the leg and also can be quite colorful. Then the next one is the short. Futsal short come in the many style and colors also. So they designed for comfort and durability. Then the shirts or the jersey. So futsal jersey come in many style and colors. So some style date back to the early days of soccer and some have a more modern look. And the next is the ball. So the ball is included the cone, net, and rebounders. So if you are child is adjusting starting out on the futsal, is you probably want to overspend on the futsal ball. So but it's also important to have one that make most of your play. So the last is included also the goal. So you cannot have a game of futsal without a goal. So there are many types of soccer goal. So some are permanent. So the next one is the facility. So facility, consider that you can gain access through the school, college, university, and leisure centers. So to the basic rules, we have 5 players versus 5 players, on one of which will be a goalkeeper, and it's expected that each player will have to take a turn being goalkeeper. So also the coaches will organize this. So subs on the fly like hockey, then no offside and no goalkeeper punt. Ball must stay below head height. Then otherwise, position and free kick will be awarded to the opposing team. Then no slide tackles. So players must not go to ground to steal possession back. Then no throw-ins from the sidelines. So instead, ball is placed on the ground and passes in the teammate. So with the foot. So free kicks and corners, the opposing team has to be minimum of 5 yards away from the ball. Then with the penalty kick, all players behind the ball except for the penalty kicker.
History of Sepak Takraw. Sepak takraw was originated in Malaysia around 500 years ago. In the 15th century, it was mostly played by the royal court around 16th century. The game was spread across Indonesia, where people called it sepak raga. By 1940, the net version of the game was spread across Southeast Asia and formal rules and regulations were formed for the game. The first official sepak takraw competition was held at a swim club on May 16, 1945 in Penang, where teams mostly from various villages of Penang participated in it. During that period, the game was called sepak raga jero. Slowly the game spread across Southeast Asia. Around 1950s, it was played in almost every school. The Malaysian Sepak Raga Federation was founded in 1960 at Penang, and in 1965 it was included in Southeast Asia Peninsular Games. It was then formally named as Sepak Takraw. Equipment and facilities of Sepak Takraw. Each of the two teams in Sepak Takraw consists of 3 players, each playing as a specific position. These are the first tekong, which is the player who stands furthest back on the court. And on the inside court, there are left side and a right side, who play closer to the net on each side of the court. The ball of sepak takraw used in the games are made of a number of synthetic materials, and all balls must be approved by ISTAF, or International Sepak Takraw Asian Federation. If being used in competition, balls are woven and must consist of 12 holes and 20 intersections and be with regulation size and weight. Games are to be played on a court that is similar to a double-sized badminton court with dimension of 13.4 by 6.1 meters with net stretched across the center at a height of 1.5 meter for men and 1.42 meter for women. Rules and regulation of sepak takraw. Games of sepak takraw shall be played by 2 teams of 3 players. Games should be played on a court that fits the regulation size and markings as set out by ISTAF or International Sepak Takraw Federation, with an official sepak takraw ball. The team to serve first is decided by the toss coin before the match commences or before the match starts. Play begins when the server is thrown the ball by a teammate and must then kick the ball over the net while keeping one foot in the service circle. Players may only touch the ball with their feet, head, knees, and chest. Touching the ball with the hand or any other part of the body can result in a fault, and that cause the point of the opposition team will be numbered. Each team is allowed a maximum of 3 touches of the ball to return it back over the net without letting it touch by the ground. Failure to return the ball over the net before, before it hits the ground results in a point to the opposite team. Points are always scored in sepak takraw by the opposition foul team, and they can do this a number of ways. See above. The first team to reach 21 points win a set, and the first team to win 2 sets is declared the winner. So, the basic skills in sepak takraw. The first one is inside kick, regarded as the most common and basic kick in sepak takraw. The inside kick is used for controlling the ball. The second one is outside kick. Not very commonly used, the outside kick is defensive kick that propels the ball upwards. To execute an outside kick, the outside of your foot must make contact with the balls as your knee bends inwards. The entire kicking leg should make a right angle at the knee with the calf and foot pointing outwards. The next one is knee kick. The knee kick actually utilizes the thigh. The ball is hit with the part of the thigh that is just above your knee. The stance and reminisce of marching, but your knees would have to be raised as high as possible. This kick is usually done by players receiving a serve header.
All-Star.